Today we're going to look at using the date diff function in Excel. But before we begin, a few notes on how Excel does date math and a couple of quick tips. The first quick tip: if you had to enter a zip code 08628, if you entered that zip code and pressed your enter key, Excel will truncate the leading zero. If you want to format a cell for text without having to format the cell, just type an apostrophe. Type the apostrophe, then the zip code 08628 and enter, and it will keep the leading zero because it is formatted automatically as a text entry if you enter the apostrophe prior to typing in the zip code. Excel also has some presets. So for example, if I enter a date and then take the pull handle and pull it down, it will increase that date by a factor of 1. I can override that preset. I hold down the control key. Then while holding down the control key, drag the dates and it will be the same date. The same preset applies to Monday, so any day of the week. It's a preset. It will increase based on the day of the week. If I want a list of Mondays, I simply hold down the control key while pulling down on the day, and I'll get a list of Mondays. Now, how does Excel do date math? Well, day 1 is January 1st, 1900. If I were to right-click on the number 1 and format the cell, for a date and click Okie dokie, that's what I will get. So today, 4/18, is 44,669 days past day 1, or January 1st, 1900. If you're trying to do any date math in the 19th century, you're out of luck. So the idea would be, if I was to enter, let's say, today, which will give me today's date, okay, and then, of course, I double-click and copy the formula down. If I wanted to, I would then, if I wanted to see the number of days, I simply enter an equal key, the newer date minus the older date, and I'll get the number of days between those dates. Again, I simply double-click on the pull handle and it will copy the formula down. So it simply is subtracting or adding numbers based on what that number represents for the date. So that's how Excel does date math. Now, looking at the date diff function, oddly enough, if we look at formulas in Excel and we look at the date time functions, the date diff function is not listed. It's there, but it is not listed as one that you can use. The date diff function takes 3 arguments: start date, an end date, and a particular unit. The start date is the oldest, the older date. The end date is the newest or newer date. And the unit is how do you want your data returned. Here are the units: D for day, M for month, Y for years. These have to be encased or enclosed in quotations, by the way. The MD, this is the difference in the day components between the start date and the end date. The years and months are not included. YD, that is the number of days between start date and end date with the year components excluded. And then YM, this is the month between the start and the end. The years and days are not included in the calculation. So here I have a start date and an end date. Please note that the start date and end date must follow the oldest and newest dates, or you will get a number error. You'll get the number sign error. So here is the date diff for the start date and end date. Here is what is entered, and that is 346 days. If I wanted the number of months, just the months between these two particular dates, I do date diff with an M in quotation marks. There are 11 months here. Here, how many years are there? There are 3 years separating these two. Notice it just gives me the year. It doesn't give me years, months, and days. Again, it's the date diff with the Y. Here, I'm using the MD. This is 3. Why? Because there's literally only 3 days between the 15th and the 18th. It does not care about the years and the months. It's just the days in between 3. So if I did the months in between those two dates, it's 47 months because I'm using the M. Only 3 days because I'm using the MD. So again, you can, by using the different units, calculate different aspects of the difference between two dates and get what you want. And the fancy one here, calculate someone's birthday. Here's date of birth, and here's today's date, and here is the entry with a concatenation for the years, months, days, etc. And you can then have a fancy little how old is somebody today. So this is the date diff function. Again, it's the 3 arguments, start date, end date, and the units, and it gives you a lot of flexibility. Thought this might be of interest simply because it's not listed. It's not here, but it does work, and it does come in handy. Hope this helps, and thank you for watching.